With so much software available in the short-term rental industry these days, it's increasingly difficult to keep up to date with what's on the market and to determine whether it's a maybe or a must-have for you and your business. So meet one provider each week in a short interview, learning what they do and what they offer. So if you have around 15 minutes to spare, it could prove to be a very good investment to stick around. So let's see who and what is out there, one by one, with me, Deborah Larby, also known as the Guest Inspector. Hello, everyone, and welcome to interview number 1 with Leo Walton from Superhog. Hello, Leo. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks, Deborah. Thank you for having me on.
That's my pleasure. Now, we are going to launch straight into it, given that it's only a concise 15-minute interview. Can we go straight to question number 1, which is, what is your elevator pitch for Superhog?
I like it, Deborah. Straight in. You're pulling no punches, aren't you? You see me in an elevator, let's do it. I would say to somebody in an elevator, Deborah, Superhog is an integrated SaaS platform, primarily screening guests, and we're combining that with financial protection. That financial protection includes embedded insurance, a virtual damage deposit, and a chargeback guarantee. As a business, our mantra is that prevention is better than cure. And by using our toolkit, you will reduce the incidence of damage, parties, fraud from happening in the first place. But also, you have the peace of mind of the Superhog financial protection if the worst does happen.
And just to translate for those people that don't know, what is SaaS?
Yeah, so it's software as a solution. And that's very key really to what Superhog is doing. Yes, there is financial protection behind it. As I said, that's deposits, virtual deposits, chargebacks, and embedded insurance. But realistically, it is a software, because you put your guests through the biometric facial recognition and ID cross-referencing, which allows you to ascertain whether the ID is valid and whether it belongs to the person going through the verification. And also we do a liveness test, and then we match the information we've been given to the guest name with their phone and with their email to try and look for anomalies. And if there are anomalies, we can raise a flag and tell the property manager not to take the booking. Now, that's not something we look to do often. That should be a really extreme case. But we also have our own data as well, because we have global reach. We can tell you if a guest that is coming to stay with you has stayed with us in the past and problems in a property somewhere else in the world. And if they have, and they haven't paid for their damage, or they've been negligent of their responsibility, we will tell you again to cancel that booking, and it will save you getting stung later on.
It's almost like a guest review, almost. We've discussed this in the past, like how do we actually review guests? And if they've got a black mark against their name, you're going to pop that up. That's
absolutely. And I think as well, a really important part of this, and whilst that is true, let's not forget the vast majority of guests are great, and you want to enable them to have a good booking experience. So we're not rule makers. We don't make this a horrible process to go through by any stretch of the imagination. It happens after the booking has taken place, and it's a very gentle process that takes them through, so we get their ID verification and we can just check things, because the vast majority of people are good. But the biggest thing that Superhog does, it's a deterrent. And this is a strange thing, because we built all this technology and we have all this clever software, but by just having a small blurb on your listing about the fact that you're working with Superhog, and that means that you'll be asked to present your passport, and you'll do a selfie cross-reference, and you'll be asked to verify your identity, you will put off the criminal element or the organized party, the deliberate stag do that's trying to pretend it's not a stag do. Now, nothing wrong with stag do's, but if people are disingenuous about their intentions, you want to curtail that behavior. You will put those people off by having that mention of the fact that they're going to go through a Superhog screening once they've booked.
Yes, that's great. And then with the virtual security deposits, how does that work? Let's break down to the next step after guest verification.
Sure. Yeah. So you're right, Deborah. We have a range of financial guarantees that we offer to our clients. The first thing is let's ID verify this guest, because that will reduce your exposure straight away. The other side of it as well is that if they've been ID verified, they're more likely to pay for the damage themselves. So this is really unheard of in the property management world, but we are able, this is my headline stat, please remember this one because I love this. we are able to get guests to pay for their damage 40% of the time, just by emailing them and interacting with them. And that's, someone's got drunk maybe, and they've spilt red wine, they've got a bit carried away, they've had an impromptu party, and then you just draw on their better judgment and say, hey, you're responsible for this, you need to pay, you've gone through the Superhog verification, we have your details, and 40% of the time the guests are able to pay. Now, in the 60% of cases where they don't pay, you obviously need a proper financial protection to make sure that you're not caught short. And so we provide protection up to $5 million for damage to property. And that, the first sort of $500 to $1,000 of that, we would class as your virtual deposit. So what that means is that you don't have to take a security deposit, because you know that if anything goes wrong, Superhog is going to protect you. Now, we're actually going to protect you up to $5 million, but we remove that need to take a security deposit because we protect you right down to, say, $50. The minimum amount we reimburse is $50. So, and that first 50 really is, I think the sort of thing where you should just take it on the chin, because that's the really small bits that can go wrong during a booking. And the advantage of doing it that way is you don't have to go through that step of actually physically taking a security deposit. Now, it might be that you really want to, and if you do want to take a security deposit, we have facility within Superhog to allow you to do that, and we'll actually capture the guest's payment card details for you and take that physical deposit. But we would say a better, more streamlined experience is remove that step, but know that Superhog is protecting you with what we would call your virtual deposit. And what that means in simplicity is that if something goes wrong, we'll get the guest to pay for it, or we'll pay for it ourselves.
Right. So is this like an insurance policy where the property manager either charges or incorporates your fee, so then they're covered for the security deposit that the guest doesn't pay? Is that one way?
Yeah, it is definitely. That's one element of it. But the other element of the fact that, again, is that, it's all through Superhog is embedded insurance. So it goes far beyond that just $2,000, $3,000 deposit you might want to take. It goes all the way up to $5 million. So if there's significant damage in a property, we have the ability to reimburse you for those higher amounts. And that's all wrapped into the price that you pay. So Superhog is a package. Now, you can obviously split it out and just buy our software from us. That's fine. But if you're going to buy Superhog Pro, the real package, that includes this $5 million worth of damage protection. And wrapped into that is the chargeback guarantee. And we know chargebacks are a problem for the industry, so you need financial protection against them. We think our verification is strong enough that you shouldn't have chargebacks in the first place, because you can submit the evidence that we've taken during verification and give it to the credit card company. But failing that, if you hit a brick wall there, we will reimburse you the value of the booking. If they've gone successfully through our verification and we didn't spot them as a potential fraudulent guest or someone that might post-booking decide to try and get away with one, then we of course will reimburse you the value of the booking. So it could be damage that occurs during a booking that leaves you with a bill to pay, but that's our responsibility. Or it could be this more fraud element where someone's trying to claim a chargeback. We'll also pay, or let's be more realistic, we'll first of all submit the evidence to the credit card company, and in the vast majority of cases we will be able to get it back at that point. But if we can't, then obviously that's what the financial protection is there for. So in our opinion, you need to combine those two things. You want to buy our full product because that's going to give you the peace of mind. The ID verification is obviously good and useful, but you then want to make sure that you're protected. And it's a marketing tool, because as you're acquiring new properties and you're speaking to hosts and you're speaking to landlords, you can sell the fact that you have taken the issue of trust and safety very seriously. These are potential pitfalls in our industry: chargeback, parties, criminal activity. I've taken them all very seriously as a property manager, and I will, and I'll give you this product as part of my management fee.
Yeah, and it sounds like protection with a capital P.
Yeah, thank you. I like that. I like that. Work for our marketing team, Deborah. That was brilliant.
Now, I just wanted to ask, do you have any unique selling points? Are you doing something no one else is doing?
Well, I would say the whole thing is very unique, wouldn't I, Deborah? As you know. But yeah, just if you're gonna pigeonhole me to specific things, it's incredibly cost effective. And the reason for that is that, as I said earlier, 40% of cases we're able to get a guest to pay directly. That's the best result for everybody, right? The perpetrator of the damage pays the host for the damage that's occurred, and we help facilitate. We arbitrate and we help facilitate that. to happen. That's fantastic. Or it doesn't happen in the first place because we've reduced it through use technology. But again,
I think actually from what you're saying about chargebacks, I think you're the first one that I'm hearing about protection from chargebacks, because I've been trying to figure out a way for my own platform design to figure out how to protect people from chargebacks. So if you can offer that, then that's a great one.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point. That was going to be my second point. I said was going to be, I think you're right. From what I see, no one actually has stuck their head above the parapet and said, "Don't worry, we'll make sure you're reimbursed if they've gone through our system." And again, that's because the system should be removing those elements of criminal fraudulent behaviour, and sending them to book elsewhere.
Yeah. Now, how does your software work? Can you incorporate it into your PMS, onto your website? Is it white labeled? Is a Superhog written all over the place? How does a property manager use Superhog?
So there's 3 ways you can connect to Superhog. You can either connect through your PMS, and we have most, if not all, of the major PMSs already integrated into our system. If there is someone we're missing and you're working with them, tell us and we'll go and do an integration with them. So that's the first thing. That's the most typical way that a property manager will integrate with us. What that does, put simply, is it means that the PMS pushes data to us that allows us to send out the links to verify the guests. Those links are Superhog branded and the emails come from Superhog.
Okay.
Another option is to embed a one-step link into your emails that comes straight from us. That allows you then, as the property manager, to be the person that sends the email. So it's not Superhog branded, it doesn't come from Superhog. The email comes from you with a Superhog link in it for the guest to follow. Some property managers prefer that because it allows them to control the process a little bit more. Third option, by far the most sort of integrated solution, but obviously something that you only want to do if you've got the sort of tech team to get it done, is to do a direct integration to our system. That then allows you to basically white label lots of elements of what we do and be the one sending the emails to your guest, and also being the one doing follow-up emails and chasers if you want to control more of the process. But it's not fully white labeled, because if you've bought the financial protection from us as well as the verification, a guest needs to tick our T's and C's to say that they won't trash a property, they're coming with good intentions. So they are going to know the Superhog's involved. If you just want our software and you directly integrate it, you can fully white label it within what you're doing. And lots of businesses outside of property managers are that's the sort of thing they would want to do with our technologies, bring it into what they're doing, because it's powering what they need it to do, which is verifying a guest.
Yeah. Okay. That's all great. Really. That's 3 ways. Now, who is your ideal audience? Who's your target audience? What type of property manager?
Yeah. So the great thing about the product, I think, is that we can work across the industry. It's applicable for PMCs, but it's also applicable for the channels, the OTAs as well. But still, it's not the most common type of customer is a property manager, because obviously, as a property manager, you have the most risk. You have the risk of losing your properties, losing the confidence of the landlords and the host that you've got them from, all that sort of good stuff. So really, it suits a property manager of any size. We have a direct host product, which is for people with 1 to 3, and then we go north of that, and we have clients with a couple of thousand, and we have clients right down there with 4 or 5. The point is, how you connect with us will probably depend what your size is. So the people at 2,000 have obviously connected directly, integrated directly, and the people with 5 or 6 who actually don't even work with a PMS yet, they use the one-step link and they connect to us that way. So, there isn't really an ideal size PMC for us. We can work with all creatures, great and small.
Yeah. And now PMC, property management company, for those that don't know. Now, I also think that actually, even if you have one property, you want to protect that one property. So it just streamlines the whole process in terms of verification and protection. So I would say anything from one property.
Yeah, definitely. And I think at the end of the day, it's our responsibility as the provider of the software to find a way to connect best to you. And that, like I say, if you do just have one property, that property is going to mean as much to you as if you have 50. It's the idea. You don't want risk, you don't want parties. And again, the one-step link is so easy. We send you that link, it embeds into your guest confirmation emails, and you can forget about it and go about your business.
Okay. Now, I have one question, just going back to the guest verification. One of my clients is in Spain, and they have to send the passport information through to the police. Just out of interest, with this guest verification, do you send it through to the police, depending on the country and what they have to do with that information?
Yeah, so we know this is increasingly a common occurrence in Europe. It hasn't happened anywhere else as far as I know. I think it's just in parts of Europe. And what we do is, in the same way we've integrated with property management software companies, we also integrate with companies who do that task. So because it's a big job in itself just to connect to all the different local law enforcement agencies. So we just partner with the software that already does that, to make sure that at no point in a guest verification journey are they having to repeat steps.
Yeah,
so front and center to what we do is making sure that the verification is really simple and easy to complete. Conversion of that journey is really important. So that's not a problem that we need to, we don't need this person to go through this route and then repeat all the steps to go through the Superhog route. We just connect the technology so that it all happens in the background. Yeah.
And I'll put all the links below for all the, for Superhog and for Guest Inspector and any other third party that, works well with all of this. Sure. Now, last question, or come into the last question, is how much does your service cost?
Yeah, so as I said, when I was talking about USPs, I said very cost effective, didn't I? So I guess I've got to put my money where my mouth is. There's a few different ways you can be billed, or you can choose to be billed. One is you can just have fixed per booking costs, and they shouldn't be any more than sort of $5. Or you can have a mixture of monthly fixed fees per property and booking fees. And obviously the higher your monthly, so if you have a couple of dollars in the monthly, then you're not going to pay very much for the per booking fees. So it's about you as a business thinking about what works for you. If you have a lot of short bookings, you might want to go for the monthly line rental plus small per booking fee. And if you have a couple of whoppers a month, then that's when the sort of more $5 option would probably be better. But we'll go up and down on that. We're happy to be flexible, and we'll obviously give scale discounts as well. So, it really depends what the property manager wants to get out of it. Realistically, it should be coming in at them paying all in, if they have a busy month of bookings, sort of somewhere between $16 to $20 a month.
Wow. Okay. Now that's great to have the flexibility, a studio versus a, 6-bedroom mansion, and one night versus a month stay. So yeah, it's great to have that flexibility.
Absolutely. And, we really adhere to that, because we're doing a piece of work for you. And the work we're doing is testing and checking that guest is who they say they are, and they're going to be a good guest. And so really length of stay is slightly less relevant to us, because, we're endorsing this guest by them successfully going through our verification. And that is the piece of work that's going to keep you safe.
Okay, great. Okay, last question. Is there a contract? Are you locked into working with Superhog?
It's very relaxed, just signed in blood, locked in for 20 years. Very
You have to use Superhog, and your children have to use Superhog.
We've actually had Deborah locked in for 10 years. That's what she's doing this interview. She's trying to get out desperately. No, flexible contract terms for sure. Standard one would be 24 months, but we we are doing a promotion at the moment, which is we're offering people the first 60 days for free.
Yeah, so, lovely.
Yeah, very much. It time limited, but if people come and want to reach out to us after this, we can definitely honor that 60-day deal. Again, we understand your business needs to flex as and when, which is why, more importantly, we have this different way of pricing. So if you're getting on your feet and you don't want fixed line rental costs, you just want the per booking costs, clearly it's better to do that, because then you're not paying. But if you're very much more established and you know what your flow is, you can obviously save money by going down the line rental route.
Great. Okay. I think we've hit the time limit. So I'm going to wrap things up now and say thank you very much for your time, Leo. I'm going to put the links for the various businesses down underneath. And if you have any questions for Leo or Superhog, please put them in the comments below, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. So thank you very much, Leo, for your time. And I'll see you soon somewhere. Next conference.
Yeah, it's never goodbye. It's always, I'll see you down the road.
Yep, next time. Thanks, Leo. Bye. Bye.